calculators. Today we're going to be doing training on FOI tuner, the explanation of all the settings. I know that a lot of you guys have been kind of confused on what the tuner does, and sometimes like there's a lot of features coming up and it's hard to keep up. At the same time, I kind of understand how HAAS doesn't have much documentation too after doing it, because it's just changing so much so fast that we can't really keep up on the documentation. And documentation kind of sucks. No one wants to do it, and it is time consuming to do. So I went ahead and did it just to support you guys, because of course, what good is it if you guys don't know how to use it, right? So let's go ahead and switch over and show you the presentation. Alright, so I kind of put this together, and I'm going to switch between this and the tuner to kind of explain certain things here. So let's go ahead and start the presentation. Alrighty, so here's a summary of what we're going to be looking at. This, so let me go right in. Oops. Let me reset it. Let me go back to the beginning. Okay, here it goes. Summary. Alright, so we're going to go over what each setting does, the features that are there, some of the upcoming capabilities, and the goal to full automation. Now, as I create more and more settings, or more and more features, it kind of puts the old settings to an obsolete kind of way, in a sense, because I don't use the old stuff anymore as I create new features, and you'll see why as I go here. And so that's why after I do this video and as more features come in, I'm like, well, yeah, but we don't use that anymore. We use this now. So I'll add and stack onto this presentation in the membership site later on. But I think this is good general for everyone, and also people who don't know what FOI tuner is, to kind of know what it does. Alright, so let's go ahead and fast forward here. Alright, I think we just talked about this. Yes. Alright, cool. It makes old things obsolete, but it's still usable. Alright. So the settings. Alright, so we have initially we had three different settings. The settings only will, in a sense, it'll test positive and negative perturbations, and then it'll then go on to the next step. So it'll then make this into a 0.2, right? It'll test it, you get a result. Did it improve? Yes, no, if it didn't, and then it'll put it to the other 0.1 and then test that. Did that help it? And then whichever one is good, it'll keep. Let's say it was good at this, then it'll go ahead and do again the next one, 0.2, and then do the same thing, 0.1, and then 0.0 or 0, 0. Okay, so that is what this setting does. Settings only does the whole entire settings, from minimum price change to buy all the way down to MACD signal. Alright, and all these other ones are basically variations of that, and we'll talk about MA and all this other as we get to it. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next one. MA only basically sweeps through all the moving average types and selects the base one based on the optimization setting. And we'll talk about optimizations in a little bit too. So let's go ahead and show you that. Alright, so basically there's different MA types here. So it'll kind of select the down on MWMA, weighted moving average, I believe. Run it. What's the RI on that one? And then it'll run it again for TREMA, TEMA, T3, all the way up to DEMA. And then out of all of these moving average types, it picks the best one based on the optimization that you want it, whether you want to maximize for ROI, or you want to maximize for the trade count, or do you want to maximize for the trade count and then the ROI. Okay, I typically do maximize trades and ROI because there's a little bit of feature here. Maximum trades only is if it compares the trades, and if it's not greater, it won't move forward. But if, let's say, I trade and I do back test, and I get maybe 2 complete trades from buy to sell, that's 2, and I do another perturbation, I still get a 2 complete trades, buy sell, it won't move on because it hasn't improved on the maximize trades only. Okay, and so there's like a greater only comparison. Now the maximize trades and ROI, it does a greater than or equal. So even though I do a back test, it showed me 2 complete trades, and the next one is 2 complete trades, but they're equal, so it's 2 plus 2, 2 equals 2, greater than or equal to, then it'll move forward. It'll kind of look forward and then say, hey, even though they're both equal in trade counts, but was the ROI even better? And if it is, it will then take it. All right. So I use this a little more. These two are a little more. The trades is more like, hey, all I want is any trade count improvement. If it doesn't improve, I won't take it, kind of thing. Okay. I don't know if that's clear for you guys. We do need to do a demonstration or some kind of animation of it. But yeah, let me just hopefully that's clear. So moving on to the period then settings, what we notice is that even though we back test and we test good for like 2 weeks, but then we forward test it and we're like, dude, it's not even performing the way it's supposed to perform in the 2-week back test. And so I guess the market has changed. And so what we do is we'll start broad, because that kind of gets us settings that work. It'll back test on a 2-week level, but then it'll kind of optimize and do the settings deal until it improves the ROI as much as it can for the 2-week mark. After there's no more improvement, it then switches those current settings to a 1 week and then tests that. And it'll kind of perturb it again. And it'll see some more improvement on the 1 week. But then, of course, ROI would be a little bit less. And it kind of resets everything so that it can reanalyze it for the new week. And it does the best, gets the best ROI for the 1 week. And then it'll go 6 days, 4 days, 2 days, and so on until you get to 1 day, where it is, in a sense, the best, most current market, which is a day old at least, on a 1 day back test. And so of course sometimes it won't even trade at all depending on this current settings. You might have to just re-scratch it and kind of do a whole new initial guess to get something in the positive for 1 day and then tune it from that point on. But the idea is that once we get something working on the broad spectrum, to then constrain the walls and guide the solution down by constraining the walls down, that helps it to, in a sense, let the tuner find solutions for a 1 day. Okay, so it does that automatically on a period then settings type of run, and so that'll be here, the period then settings run. Here, period then settings. Alright, so we talked about settings, we talked about MA, and then the period and settings, which is the back test reducing itself. And it'll kind of start from wherever you select it at. If you start at 6 days, it'll go from 6 days down to 1 day. You start from 4 weeks, it'll go from 4 weeks all the way down to 1 day. So it just takes a little longer to do to get down to 1 day, okay? If you're able to have settings already that work for 1 day, you can just start right out there and it'll just do one run and be done. So usually on bots that are already tuned in a sense, but it just didn't work out, when we forward tested it, we could just quickly do a 1 day back test and just kind of bring it up to speed and get to that point. Okay, now this is a very restrictive criteria. The maximum days to hold bag, which is this here. So let's say from here it held the bag, less than a day, right? It got in, got out very quickly. But if the last purchase was probably, let's say, for example, maybe I'll show you one if I can find it. They all pretty much got out, so which is what I want. I don't want it to be holding it for several days and be stuck on it. Well, I think I have a few here. Let me, because I manually pulled it out and didn't finish the trade, and that's why it would leave it. So let's say for here, August 3rd, and today's August 10th. So that means it held the bag for 7 days. So if it back tested it and it found that it held the bag for 7 days, which is great on this, it will basically scrap and throw out the results. So you make this really constraining of 1 day, and typically is getting about 2 to 3 days of holding the bag. Well, you're not going to get very far in the analysis, and it'll pretty much throw everything out, and it'll seem like your analysis didn't do anything at all. It just kind of like ran through it real quick and nothing changed. So you might want to start kind of like this here. Start with the 10. I typically start with 5, but then you kind of want to move those walls down. After you run it, you got some results, great. The best was like maybe 6 days, then constrain it at 7, and then you run it again. So the best one was maybe 3 days, great. We'll constrain the walls again, run it again, and so it's just more like guiding it. And you might have to run it several times in order to get it down to about that. Eventually, we have created a solution where we kind of know what we need to do to get the trades to happen more frequently. And 5 seems to be typical, which is what I want. 3 maybe probably best. No more than 3 days to be in the market before you have to get out. Okay. And then if there's anything that happens here, you want to get out, you click this to break the loop. It'll do one full complete loop, and then it'll pause and stop. Okay, and then go from that point on. Now I need to also talk about the fixed perturbation type. Okay, so we had covered this. Let me just stay with this for now, and then we'll go back over here. These are just combinations of it. So all of this here is, it basically selects the MA, sweeps through the best one, and then applies the settings all at one go. And this is the same thing. It does the sweep MA, and then after that it does the period and settings all in one go. This is here the same thing, but it disables the safeties. So these are the safeties right here, and it doesn't touch any of these numbers. So you want to leave them all at 0, it'll leave them all at 0. Okay. Or then, though, of course, this is self-explanatory. Here is the settings only with safety disabled. So you want to just do settings only and safety disabled, then that's it. This one does only the BB bands or the Bollinger Band settings only, or the RSI only, or the MACD only. So that's messing only with the Bollinger Band variables, except for these. It'll just mess with BB length, dev up, dev down, and deviation. If you do RSI only, it'll only mess with these numbers. On a same thing with positive, negative, and positive, negative. It'll just keep sweeping through, and if it keeps improving, it'll keep going. MACD, same thing. Okay. Now it is a little more time consuming because it does one small change here, one small change there, and then it gets the best one, and then goes and again does left, look right, left, right. So because of that, it kind of slowly morphs the solution. Now there is a little more aggressive one where it'll just push all the way, which is called the secret method, and that is this one here, the secret method. Okay, because when we do let's say a negative perturbation of 1, and this controls the perturbations, by the way, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but let's say we have perturbation 1, so it's going to change it down to negative 1 or -1, so it's 33. I'll run it, and let's say this one got a ROI of 10, okay, but then when I change it to 33, then I move up one, right? Where did I start with? I got lost. Okay, all right. So whatever that was, let's say this was negative. We started at, let me start this. We started at 32. We went down to 31. We got 10%. All right. Now, on the positive sense, we're gonna go up to 33 on the positive one setting, and then that happened to give us 20% ROI. We're like, well, 20% is greater than 10%. We're gonna go in a positive direction, and so after that, it's gonna keep on going 34, and then 35, 36, and that keeps on 20, 30, 40, 50%. Just to round it up, in a rough simplified scenario. It's gonna keep pushing up until it says, hey, the 50% ROI at 37, and then when I do 38, it drops it down to 10% ROI. So that's as far as it goes. 37 is what we're gonna keep. I'll do the same thing down here now on the secret method. 35, and then it gets like maybe 50%. It went up to 60% in this one, but then when it goes up to 37, it dropped the ROI to 10%. So it was worse. So because we went negative and it helped, then we'll go from 50% to 60% to 30% ROI. So as long as the ROI keeps increasing, it'll keep going down down more and more until it says, hey, you know what, 75% ROI which is unrealistic, is what you can get on this setting at 31. All right, that's as best as we can go. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, and it does the same thing. So that's the secret method. So the secret method is a lot more quicker in reaching that solution because it doesn't have to keep going positive, negative every single time. It just goes, it finds the direction and it just goes in the direction that's good. So that's the secret method for the settings only. The next one is the same thing, but we disabled the safeties with the secret method. So it just touches everything else, but it doesn't mess with these safety settings because we might want them to be all 0. Okay. And then this is the secret method with the Cosmo style. And the Cosmo, he does it a little differently. I believe he does, the first thing is to do RSI first. And then he'll do the secret method on Bollinger Bands only. And then he'll go into MACD. Okay, so it's kind of the same thing as these components, but using the secret method. So if you think to see this was BB only secret method, it's just kind of a put together kind of thing for Cosmo. It's just kind of doing RSI secret only, then BB only, secret only, then MACD secret only, and it was all packaged into one little setting here. Okay. And of course, I don't use these settings anymore because we now have an initial guess. One-click solution here. All right, so once you come on, there's a video on how you initialize all these variables, but let's say the fixed steps is what moves it +1 or positive or -1. If you put 10 here, it'll move it positive, -10. Now, if you put percentage, it'll move it positive, -10% instead of a whole 10, a 10 step. So if this was a 10% for the minimum buy to change, and this was 0, then a percent of 0 is just 0, right? But I made a little thing where if it is 0, it just moves it 0.1 left and up, negative, positive. So this one here, it was RSI at 10%. Let's say this was at 10%. Then it'll move just 3.7 positive and 3.7 negative down. So it'll do the math and subtract it and add it to this 37, and that's what 10% is. So as this number changes, the percent will also change. So if it goes up to 40, then it'll move it positive, -4 or -4, or it'll take 4 away from the 40 amount, kind of thing. So it's a little more of a morphing type of thing, and as it moves more, it'll cover more area in a sense with the percentage. Okay. But lately I've been using fixed steps. All right, and this is just to the autofill just quickly kind of autofills the whole thing, so you have to type every single thing. Autofill everything, and then you can kind of like, hey, I don't want that to move that much. I want BB up and down. That is not practical to make it move by tens. We only move by 0.1, etc. So it's just kind of more of a shortcut kind of thing. Okay. Let me just restore everything. And then once this is done, you want to make sure you save it, because then every time you come back in, you could just load the settings, which I already have, and it'll kind of replace everything to where I need it to be. Okay, so that becomes 5. All these is where I need to be. 6 days, maximize trades, and then you could just hit go. Okay. And all your IP addresses are already given to you. So even though you forgot your password or whatever, it'll load your username and all this other good stuff. Okay. All right. So then after that, you can then monitor your results. You can see the negative, the amount of trades, completed trades it has done on a negative perturbation or a positive perturbation. You count this no improvement counter. There's 13 variables that you're looking at. Then if this hits 13, then that's it. It's done. If you do it with safeties disabled, then it's 3 less variables. So by the time it hits, I believe it was 9 and 10 or whatever the number was, it'll then end. And the independent variable tells you which number it is perturbing. So it left off as 5 as the last variable was messing with. So it went up and down, positive, negative, and then it kind of just ended there, and it's done. And that's where it left off. Okay, so that's how you could kind of monitor it. Now, I don't have any alerts that say, hey, the run is done. Is usually when you look at it and nothing's moving, then it's pretty much done, and you have some kind of positive green ROI. I will add some settings later on to notify you that the run is done, or some kind of progress bar if it's still running somehow. I'll add that later on. Okay. All right. So, and the minimum days hold back. These are in terms of days. So 0.1 day. It looks like 0.11 day. So it got in like an hour or two, and then it's out, in and out within an hour or two on this. The last run I did on this one. Okay. So it trades a little more frequently. All right. So now I don't look at this anymore because I just run it and just kind of let it rip and walk away, come back in an hour or two, and then run my next coin. Okay. So now this new feature. Oh yeah, let me add some more stuff here. Settings. So look ahead. All right, so the one-click optimization. Let me talk a little bit more about some other cool stuff that I've added, which may or may not be useful because I don't use it anymore. If you wanted to just do a BBA length only and just see if it goes positive negative, you just hit this button and it'll do a positive negative on it real quick. So these are all buttons that you can hit. If you do make any changes here, you make sure you save and update it before you run it. And so these are just more like one variable type of runs that you want to say, hey, let me just move the MACD fast real quick at 5 steps or 15 steps, whatever it was. Then you could just run it. It'll do a negative pause, change it +5 and -5, and then run it and see which one's best. And then if it's good positively, it'll keep going in the positive direction. Okay, so these are all secret methods that that is using here. Okay. That's all I have for this part. So let's go over to initial guess. So after all of this, I barely use that part. I only use this now. Once you come in here, this is the one-click tuning solution. It's a combination of all the stuff that we added in the front end, but we've kind of packaged it all into one button. So it makes it a lot easier. Hit the load, hit the period that you want to test start at, and some of these settings already have overridden the maximization option and the backtest period, so it's already going to be using what we normally use anyway. Cosmo always uses 6 days. FOI tuner, I believe, it allows you to. I think we start with 2 weeks or something, and then we reduce it later. I don't remember. Actually, maybe it allows you to select which one you want for FOI tuner. I think that's what I remembered. Okay, so there it is. For Cosmo solution, you just basically come on here. It's going to build a table of all of the initial guesses, and then based on the best initial guess that comes up, it then picks that best one that is in a sense a positive ROI, and then tunes it according to Cosmo's secret method in the order that he does it. Okay, and then he'll change the check out different MAs, and then that's with the MACD, and then it's done. Okay. FOI tuner is a little more, takes a little longer, but I noticed it does perform better on some certain coins. But Cosmo is still in beta. I haven't completely got his algorithm complete yet, so that's probably why there's probably some other things that he's doing that's not in here. So it's still in beta, and this whole part is still in beta. The tables don't work yet in here. But it's gonna give you the ability to, in a sense, build your own initial guesses, save initial guesses, load the table, and you can actually manually adjust the numbers once the tables are loaded. Okay, and here's where you can save the initial random initial guesses. If you don't know what to do and none of this is working, you can just throw in like maybe 100 or 10 runs of random guesses based on certain boundaries. It'll create those 10 initial guesses here, and it'll run through them and then pick the best one and then run with it. Okay, so you kind of do that, but this is all not working. Okay, so once you're in here, all that's working right now is that you set everything up, you initialize, you hit the load, make sure everything's working, select the period that you want, and then hit this one-click solution, and then come back in an hour, and that's it. So that's kind of how easy it is. That's what I use now. I don't even mess with any of this stuff anymore. I just kind of come back in, load my stuff, make sure everything's good, and my perturbations are there. I go over here now, and then I load all this stuff, and everything's loaded the way I want it to be. All right, this is not even used right now, and then I just hit FOI complete solution, and that's it. Okay, so this is the reason why I did that, is so that new users can use it quickly. A lot of people need to know what to do in the beginning, what settings to put, and they'll kind of randomly go somewhere and they start with a negative ROI, and the tuner won't be able to do anything because you need to have a positive ROI before it can work. It's more like a golf analogy where you need a driver. You're the driver, the wood driver. You drive it into the golf course, onto the green, and then the tuner can then putt it into the hole, or at least push it further into a higher ROI. Because you don't know what those initial settings are to start with, then the tool's not really useful for you. So this is to solve that, but it also leads a way for me to tune all 300 coin pairs that we pulled from Binance or from HAAS when I was using Binance, and I could tune all 300 coin pairs automatically, and it might take a few days, but at least I could keep it running overnight, and then that paves the ways for me to to monitor and retune bots as needed with a one-click solution, and not have to, constantly monitor it. Okay, so as this evolves, pretty soon you probably don't even have to sit there and tune it in a sense. So the way we do this is that we tune it as many coins as we can, but then we use it to monitor for positive ROI. Once we see positive ROI, then we kind of push it and test small with a live wallet. If it does well, then we double down or throw 80% of our portfolio at the coin, depending on the market cap of that coin, which we'll need to take account on, because I don't want to throw big amounts on small market caps, because it won't completely fill. So those are some of the challenges that we're looking at right now. We might have to clone multiple coins at smaller amounts in order to get into position, or we can ladder in. I'm still debating how I'm going to approach this, whether I want to manually jump in based on the indicators, and I can place manual trades with the bot, and then monitor it, and as Mad Hatter gets out, I also get out at the same time, based on what the Mad Hatter does as an indicator. So using bots as indicators, I guess. But then as losses start to take on, then we can turn off the bot. So that's trying to give me some ideas whether or not I can. Yeah. Okay. So this is just me thinking right now, because we wanted to initially clone bots that are doing well, and then using the Mad Hatter bot to make decisions, buying and selling decisions. But what if I just use it as an indicator, and I can manually place more controlled orders manually and monitor it through the tuner and turn things on and off, in a sense, or get coins in and out quicker. And also, if you want to have a base coin of EOS instead of BTC or whatever, we can do that. We can move what we need out from your base coin that you like, trade it, and then return it back to the base coin. So that's some of the new features that might be able to add later on. Okay, so this basically, and then on top of that, we'll be able to store all the bot settings on a common shared database or MySQL database on a server somewhere that all the bots are using and contributing to, so that we don't have to, when you start off, you don't have to tune all 300 pairs by yourself. Well, we have maybe 150 already done, or maybe all 300 is already done. All you do is pull it in, and everyone can constantly contribute to and update the settings as the market changes as a collective. But with the slight randomization for everyone, so that no one is using all the same coins. So there'll be some kind of randomization added, so that we don't step on each other's toes, and if everyone has the same settings, I think it'll probably be a self-defeating purpose or bot if everyone's using the same settings and trading at the same time and on the train pair, and kind of thing. So I'm sure there's plenty of money going around, but we should probably have some settings here and there to randomize it a little bit. Okay. All right. So looking ahead, I think I've talked about some features already. Let's see. So moving forward, these are some of the features that we want to add later on. Even though it trades profitably, eventually it does not, and your ability to turn the bots off and on is crucial to you making it or breaking it in the crypto trading world. HAAS Online takes the position of using the bots as an extension of yourself. There is no fully automated solution. At least that's not the position they're taking it as. And when I first initially got, I was like, hey, a bot's supposed to be fully automated, right? But it really isn't. And so it's just an extension of you being able to trade faster, get out faster, get in quicker, and all that other stuff, right? But what I really wanted was to be able to kind of have it running 24/7, very low maintenance. And that's my strive still. Whether that I'm able to achieve that or not, we will see. In a sense, this is the bot controlling the bot, making decisions according to what we would do, but in a much faster, quicker scale than we could ever do, because we have to sleep. Eventually we get tired, but these bots don't. So it'll basically monitor it, switch it to a live wallet, trade, market starts to turn, losses start to mount, it'll then pull you out and stop it and monitor it again. If it starts to see good trades, it can then recalculate the portfolio and buy maybe up to 80% of your portfolio in coins of whatever that's winning, um, and then get you in that position. Okay. So, but also with a way to manage the portfolio for clients. And I think that's eventually where we will go, because as people start to hear about it, see it, people want people to manage their portfolio for them that can do way better than they can. And so this is a solution to that. And then we'll be able to sort out our portfolio from the day we start, how much we've made them, and the commission that we've made, and then we can invoice and bill them. And if in the future, when we are able, either through smart contracts, whatever, to have that already in head of time, so that whatever we make, we can then automatically bill them and have that amount come to our wallet automatically, because we made the money. Okay. So maybe EOS will have that solution later on, or I don't know if Ethereum has that right now, but we're not at that point yet. So, all right. So that's some of the features that we want to add later on. Okay. And then we'll kind of probably be looking at other bot strategies in the future. Mad Hatter is, in a sense, a very simplified strategy, but it's small enough to us to get started and make some money with small consistent wins. So we will scale up on winning trades, deactivate losing bots, which is crucial to maintaining or at least preserving your wins, and not have a rogue bot continually trading losses while you're sleeping and be like, oh my gosh, you woke up and it took you down because you didn't stop it, kind of thing, because you're sleeping. So, and then other trading strategies, as we learn, that are a little more credible, that do well. Some other arbitrage stuff, maybe to maybe automate that, might be something I might be looking at later on. Or with the flash crash bot, maybe automating it on a stop loss, in the sense where following the trend, but also trading on a stop loss, so as it bumps up, then buy, rather than buying on the way down and then it just keeps going down. You're like, oh shoot, kind of thing. So these are some of the things that we're going to look at, but let's just not focus on too many squirrels, and finish this up and get this proper working, and tune it to its best. And who knows, this could be all we ever needed, and all these other stuff is, even though we put effort into it, it might not produce what we want it to produce. Okay. All right, cool. So hopefully that's helped you guys with the tuner, and of course the settings will change, and the strategy will change too, and I'll add videos on top of this one. I will say whether I will overwrite some of the stuff, because if this solution works well, we really don't need the table. We don't really need to add random guesses. I can add them all in here. This could be all done and gone away, and we probably don't even need this table view. So I don't even use it. I don't need to use it. So who knows about add this later on? Would it be useful or not to some people? If you already have a complete tuning solution, or maybe you could build your own tuning solution. I don't know. That might be a cool thing for you to do, and kind of piece together certain strategies, in a sense, and then save it. So cool. That's all I have. That's all I can think of now. I think that should be a good gist of how to use a tuner, what each of these settings does. You have to pretty much load, and let's see, hopefully that's there. Yeah, I don't see anything else to it other than that. Alright. Okay, so that's all I have. Hopefully this will get you guys jump started on it easily, and you can start using the tool quicker, and I can support you better in the Telegram group if you have any questions. I have some other stuff that, if there's any installation problems, it's definitely gotten a lot better as far as running the tool now without the installer. Much quicker and a lot less headache to get people up and running and started. And yeah. Alright, thank you guys. You have a good one, and we'll talk to you then.